Grizzle 6 over. Hey, Thunderman. Hey, Thunderman, we gotta go for a drive. We just gotta go for a spiritual drive. Y'all roger that. We're good. Everybody, we're good. We don't need any more people to check on us. This is a spiritual journey. Oh, hang on, stand by. Friends, this is a spiritual journey. I must go on a spiritual drive, friends. That's what I do to handle my damn stress. I'm sorry, Gabe. I didn't mean to yell. No, I'm fine. Just this damn, I'm about to start cursing again. This damn evil. Yeah, I got all the Grizzly soldiers loaded up. We've done all our checks. Hold on, just do a couple more. Okay, yep. Got the flaps down. All right, yep. I got the trim. We're all good to go. Yeah, we're just gonna take a flight. We're gonna take a flight in the Grizzly Blackhawk. We're gonna just have a little time with our friends on the Facebook. All right, roger that. We'll check in on our checkpoints. All right, good copy. Grizzle 6 out. Friends, I gotta go for an effing drive. I gotta go for a spiritual drive, friends. Friends, the devil thinks he's real sneaky. The devil thinks he's real sneaky, friends. And he is. He's a very sneaky, cunning demon. And the devil's got a bunch of, friends, I have got to be so careful, Corporal Stevens. Friends, if I even talk about these demons that are living in my home right now, I'll go to jail, and they make certain of that, because they put me in jail last week. Oh, you people, who the hell are y'all? Who the hell did I marry? Who the hell's family is? Friends, I gotta go, friends. I gotta go. I mean, I just went to the bathroom, friends. Literally, friends. I just went potty. Look, friends, hold on. Corporal Stevens, I need the ground guide, please. Friends, I gotta go for a drive. Every time I get to talk to my children, there's these wicked demons just lurking in the background. Oh yeah, buddy. I gotta be quiet, friends. I don't want someone to call the authorities on me. That'd just be my luck, wouldn't it? Friends, the victim herself, that horrible mother-in-law of mine, is in my kitchen right now, just sucking up all the AC and sucking up all the victories and all the hard work that I had to do. Because that lady's a failure and she's dysfunctional, and all she's known is dysfunction her whole effing life. Friends, I'm struggling right now, friends. I'm struggling with hold on, friends. Let me just get past these people here. Shh. How y'all doing there? Friends, friends, God's testing me right now is what I'm telling you. Friends, I'm being tested. God is allowing the devil to test me right now, friends. And friends, so far I'm passing. Friends, hold on, very clearly, friends. Friends, these demons are in the house with my children. There's all this dysfunction, all this alcohol, friends. Oh yeah, the petitioner ran off to the store, friends. I guarantee that lady got her a bottle of wine, friends. Friends, I saw the Uber drop like four bottles of wine for the lady the other night. And then she put her hand on the camera because she knows I'm watching you. And I know what you did. I know what you did, you demons. You're in my home with my children, and my children are depressed. My children are not doing good, friends, because they're surrounded by dysfunctional women. Women that never figured it out. Women that are absolute abominations of failures. Friends, I don't mean to be ugly, but you can be a gold star mom and you can be like one of the worst people in the entire existence of this planet, friends. And I got one as a mother-in-law, a soon-to-be ex-mother-in-law. Holy smokes, friends. Friends, I gotta go on a drive. Friends, I was gonna go hang out with my friend for a while, and I had to text my friend and say, I can't. Friends, I gotta be careful. Anything I say, they'll use against me in the courts. Friends, I'm the most godly man I know. I'm sober-minded. I'm doing an advocacy project here. Friends, all this is a project. Friends, this is a project, for God's sake. Oh, I'm sorry, friends. Friends, these people hate me because I'm creative. They hate me because I'm sober. They hate me because my children love me because I'm a good husband. Well, hold on, friends. Oh, God, friends, Lord Jesus. Friends, friends, I gotta be so careful. Last time I dressed these demons down, I went to jail. Friends, I've never seen... Friends, again, my daughter paying the camera around my home, friends. I kind of told her to. Friends, my wife looks, she looks the worst that she's ever looked, friends. And I told you, the lady's, she's a good looking, friends, the lady used to be very attractive. What do you think lured me into to wanting to go on a date with her when I met her at the motorcycle event? It wasn't all her smarts. It wasn't her discernment. It wasn't her non-dysfunction, friends. I told you I was living in dysfunction too at that point in my life. Hold on, friends. I gotta get out of my gated community. I told you, friends, a lot of perks when you're the sergeant major. Hold on, friends. I gotta let Thundermane, Grizzle 6 over. Roger that. We are SP in the campground. Yeah. Oh my Lord Jesus. Hold on. Break. All Grizzly elements. Let Grizzle 6 know when you've cleared the RV park, the gated community. Okay, roger that. Break. Thundermane, Grizzle 6 over. Oh, Gabriel. Gabriel, I'm not gonna ask why. I kind of have an idea. I know God's tested me tonight. Oh my goodness, friends, hold on. I know I'm being tested. Break. Friends, God's allowing me to go through the ringers here because a lot of men go through this, and a lot of men don't know how to figure it out, and they do the ultimate sin. They remove themselves from the situation permanently, or maybe they're like my friend I met in the expert time. The second time these people, friends, it wasn't just this. Friends, it was all of her family that did this to me. Is that a bug in here? Get that bug out of here, Corporal Stevens. I'm not in the mood. Hold on, friends. I'm talking to heaven right now, for God's sake. Lord, forgive me, Jesus. Blasphemy, please. Lord Jesus, forgive me. Calm me down. Thundermane, Grizzle 6. Big Gabriel. I'm doing exactly what the Lord told me to. I'm going on a spiritual drive. That's right. I'm gonna live stream it so my friends can kind of understand what's going on. And I know there's a lot of men out there that have to go through this. And I'm trying to show them. I'm trying to show y'all. Okay, Gabriel, I'm gonna take some deep breaths. I'm gonna stay in the present moment. And I stand by. Oh my gosh, friends, I just can't believe this evil. Friends, God's allowing me to feel this because a lot of men go through it. Like I'm trying to tell you, it's a spiritual journey. Friends, my daughter, my children are at the, friends, I bought that home. That's my home. Corporal Stevens, pull over immediately. Oh my gosh, Jesus, Lord Jesus, friends, I gotta get out of the truck. Friends, I'm so stinking worked up right now. Corporal Stevens, make sure that truck's in park. Friends, I got a bunch of demons in the home that I bought and built for my children. My VA home loan that I served in the war, friends. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan to buy that home for my children. I worked at the horrible Department of Veteran Affairs to provide for my children. I was not dysfunctional. I mean, I was, friends, but I begged Jesus to get me out of that dysfunction. I got a bunch of failures, a bunch of perverted people, a bunch of demons in my home right now with my children. And friends, I told you, my daughter panned the camera right on them. And these demons are in my kitchen right now. Oh, Thundermane, I'll report back in a little while. I'll calm down. Okay, that's an order. Friends, Thundermane told me I must calm down, or I'm gonna give another violation. I'm gonna be gone for a year in the damn jail. But friends, that cornbread. Friends, that cornbread. No. All right, Thundermane, I'm gonna get out and do some push-ups. All right, I'll be right back. All right, Grizzle 6 out. Friends, what you have to understand is what the hell's going on here is it's a spiritual battle that I'm in. Oh, that's the wrong one. Friends, the devil removed me out of the home. He tricked all these weak women, all these failures, all these perverted ladies. I'm talking about the petitioner. I'm talking about the victim. I'm the victim. Friends, they made the mother-in-law the victim because I sent the lady a text like a week ago just apologizing that this whole cycle's starting up again. And the lady, and the most grace that she could ever muster, she wrote, "Don't you ever reach out to me again." Friends, I am so thankful. Friends, I was about to dress that lady down in a text. And friends, if I had done that, they would have given me the electric chair. I wouldn't be on bond. I would still be in jail waiting for. Well, friends, I don't think Ron DeSantis would have given me, because the governor has to sign off on it. He would have given me a pardon. But friends, I would have been on death row waiting my electric chair sentence. Friends, the damn devil, I can't stand this evil. Friends, my children are suffering. There's no godly people in that home. It's a bunch of wicked women that are a bunch of failures. Friends, I don't mean to be ugly, friends, but it's the only way we can be is truthful. Friends, I read it earlier. Uncle David, my brother-in-law, I got his memorial book. When he was killed in the war, the unit put a book together for this horrible family. Friends, I can't tell you who the family is. I'll get a violation. Friends, this family is the most dysfunctional group of perverted demons that I've ever known in my life, friends. They literally make Jessica Marchalewski look like a choir girl. Friends, these people are miserable. They're failures. They don't own anything. They're renters. They pay like $700 for a meager car payment and afford a piece of garbage car. Nobody knows how to make any wise decisions. Nobody has any money. It's all scratch-off lottery tickets. Friends, I guarantee you, if you added up all the money that these people have spent on scratch-offs, they could have probably bought like 3 homes. And friends, when the going gets tough, they run to the damn courts. They pick up the children and they punish the men. Friends, that's why these ladies never have men in their lives. Friends, none of these women, except, oh, friends, I told you, they're all divorced, and my wife's going to be divorced in 2026. I'm going to make that a reality for you, lady. You want to play around with me, I'm gonna make your wildest dreams come true. Hold on, friends. I do not want to get in an accident. I'm sure there's a lot of drunk drivers out tonight. But I got my Kevlar on, friends, and I got my red light for my light discipline. Friends, every one of these women that are in my home right now are divorced, soon to be divorced, or divorced like times 2, friends. Friends, that's not godly, that's dysfunction. And friends, my daughter, I talked to my oldest, and she told me she was tired. But friends, it was like 6 o'clock when I was talking to her. She's depressed is what I'm telling you. Because there's nobody uplifting in the home. There ain't nobody having fun. Friends, I'm a fun daddy. Give me a break. I don't do Sergeant Grizzlegrits around my children. I do other things, friends. We watch SpongeBob, SquarePants. It's not a bad show, friends. I mean, it's kind of goofy, but it ain't perverted. It was written like 25 years ago. Friends, my daughter, once again, my youngest, she never ceases to amaze me, friends. She did, just like at that drunken Waldron's house the other night. She just said, Daddy, I'm gonna go around the house. I said, yeah, you do it. I need the intel. Friends, the other night on Saturday, the horrible Waldrons, that's my ex-family, friends. That's my family. That's a bunch of failures, a bunch of miscreants, a bunch of just nonsense, friends. All they want to do is get drunk and talk about football. Who played today? Who won the big game? How come y'all can't go to the lower levels of communication, like your hopes and your dreams? Or maybe some emotional talk? Or goodness sakes, why don't we open the Bible and get spiritual? Oh, we can't do that, friends, because these people are all broken. And they're all dysfunctional, friends. They're all dysfunctional. Friends, the devil tricked all these weak women, including the birthing lady. Friends, I cannot call that lady a mother. She has not been a mother in a long time. A mother don't do this evil on you. The birthing lady, Arlene Waldron. Friends, I can't stand these damn people. What's my crime, friends? Why in the hell do I got an ankle bracelet on my ankle? Why in the hell did I spend 3 days in Orient Road jail? Why in the hell do I got a mugshot? Why in the hell is there a temporary injunction with domestic violence with children, friends? There's not one shred of evidence that any of this is true. Friends, I'm going to tell you why. Because I got the truth dumped on me yesterday by Mr. Ron, my spiritual friend that I had breakfast with. Oh my gosh, these roads, friends, this damn county. I wish I could leave, friends. Friends, I might just petition to the judge that this lady needs to be locked up in the loony bin with the rest of her dysfunctional family. And they just need to remain in the loony bin for the remainder of their time on this earth, friends. And then I'll take my children and we'll go live in Manatee County, friends. That's where I'm going. I'm going to Manatee County right now. I'm looking at some property tonight. Friends, the dysfunction in these people, friends, I'm sick to my stomach again. Friends, I'm almost more sick now than I was on Saturday when the horrible Waldrons are having their little drunk party, their little holiday drinking party. They got all the wine over here for the wives. Friends, trust me, I know, because I used to go to these things. I couldn't stand it. They got all the beer in the cooler on the back porch, friends, on the back patio. And John Waldron, well, he keeps all his liquor right near the refrigerator in the bottom shelf down there. He's got like 5 bottles of that vodka, the Grey Goose. He loves the Grey Goose, friends. He can't get enough of that Grey Goose. But that Grey Goose got enough of him, friends. The guy's gonna be gone here pretty soon. He's got stage 4, friends. Friends, he had stage 4 stage 4 3 years ago when I got sober. Because, friends, I started having liver problems. The Tampa VA wanted to do a biopsy on my liver, and that's literally, friends, that's what scared me to beg Jesus to remove it. Friends, why the hell am I driving around aimlessly doing live streams with y'all, complaining? And how come I'm not home with my children reading them Bible stories? Friends, I read a Bible story on the WhatsApp. I had my daughter go get the Bible story. Friends, I was doing these live streams during the summer, friends, before I had to go out there and do the peaceful protest. And friends, I got some horrible news, friends. I got some horrible news. Friends, does anybody know why I was out there doing my peaceful protesting? If you know, put it in the chat. Is it because I'm a lunatic? Is it because I like to just cause problems for my family? None of y'all knew why I was out there. Okay, I almost got to tell y'all. Friends, there's a man, there's a black man. He's a Vietnam veteran. His name is H.K. Edgerton, friends. Y'all need to look the man up. He's like a legend in the Southern heritage community because he goes around wearing a Confederate Army soldier's uniform, and he carries a battle flag, friends. And he goes out there and tries to drop a little knowledge on y'all. Friends, that war was not all about the slaves. I mean, give me a break. For those of y'all that think it was all about the slaves, I guarantee you got all your COVID shots too. I mean, if you're still alive, because all the folks that got all the shots aren't with us any longer, friends. I mean, I told you. I told my wife, don't you dare get them shots. But the lady's fallen and she's wicked. And friends, there's a curse. There's a curse on that family, friends. It's undisputed at this point. The lady kind of told me about it last year. Friends, did you know her granny was a prostitute? That's the mother-in-law's mother. She was a lady of the night, friends. And she was into, like, witchcraft. Friends, I can't make this stuff up. This is all true. And friends, it just fits with the skit perfectly. Friends, who wants to help me do the Sergeant Grizzlegrits? We're going to do, like, some... Friends, I don't want to go to Hollywood. It's all perverted, people. Friends, I need an independent director. We're actually going to produce this. We're going to make, like, a mini-series. It's going to be the Sergeant Grizzlegrits Chronicles. And we'll just start from the beginning, friends. When I lost my opportunity at the VA, and then little Lukey and I prayed, and literally, friends, two days later, Sergeant Grizzlegrits happened. And friends, that's a true story. Friends, this family's cursed, is what I'm telling you. And friends, all that stuff's real. Friends, my family don't have no curses, but my father's family did. They had an alcohol curse, friends, and I broke that curse. Jesus took those chains and broke them, friends, and I've been sober 3 years. And that's why my family, all these drunkards, they want nothing to do with me. Now, friends, my wife's family ain't the drunkards. They don't do the drunks, but there's a lot of drugging. There was a lot of drugging in her siblings. Her sisters. Friends, that's why Uncle David bailed on out of there. Friends, we read it in the book back here. He got away from all that evil. It said that he didn't really have a shot. He grew up in a crime-ridden and a drug-ridden community, friends. That's because the mother was dysfunctional. And that horrible mother-in-law of mine, friends. The lady that's the victim in the new petition. Oh, friends, I got a huge update for y'all. But first, friends, Mr. H.K. Edgerton. That's the man. I was out there protesting because I was there the day they removed that guy out of the park. And I wasn't out there protesting, friends. I was out there with my wife because she wanted to go see her little brother's little brick. And we did, friends. And I went out there as Ronnie Messer, the combat veteran. And what I saw got me so unrighteous feeling. I went back out there every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next 3 weeks. Friends, 8 men with guns told Mr. H.K. Edgerton, you're going to get on that golf cart or you're going to have a lot of problems. We're going to trespass your butt. He tried to bargain with him. He's like, what do you mean? I go to all these events. He goes, well, you're not going to do it here, buddy. We don't like that racist flag you got. You're going to get out of here. You're going to have a lot of problems. I mean, friends, the guy's like 74 years old. He's a geriatric, and he's a heart patient. Friends, Mr. HK is dying, is what I'm telling you. And friends, a great character. We're going to stay in the Sergeant Grizzlegrits voice. Friends, the man got tricked and took the COVID shots a couple years ago when all the rest of y'all did. And friends, when he took it, his heart took a plunge. He's got like 50% blockage. He's a heart patient. Miss Linnell, the lady I met that reached out tonight, she's his caregiver when he goes on the road, but friends, the guy can't go on the road any longer. Friends, Jesus told me last month, Jesus, he's a he. Friends, the Lord Jesus told me in a dream that Mr. HK ain't going to be around that much longer, friends. He's going to be with the Lord Jesus here probably sooner than later, friends. And friends, that was one of the main reasons I was out there protesting, because I could not allow this man to go off and be with Jesus. And allow these evil, wicked people of the Hillsborough County, the evil, wicked sheriff, all his diversity. He had 2 ladies on that stage. He had Gwen Myers, the wig lady. That's your horrible county commissioner. All the county commissioners. Friends, Jane Castor, the perverted Tampa police lady, she was on the stage, and so was Kathy Castor. Lady, I still haven't suspended my campaign. I think I might still run for your butt. It's going to be so easy to defeat you. Friends, all these people were on the stage, and they watched Mr. HK get removed out of the event, friends. I was 10 feet away. I thought they were coming after me. And friends, Mr. HK went and did a peaceful protest across the street, and I pulled over, and I went out there and I talked to the guy. I thought he was a homeless man. I asked him if he wanted some food and some water, because that's what I do, friends. I got a ministry. And then he said, hey, do you know who I am? I said, friend, I don't know who you are. Let me pray with you. I can't believe these people did it to you. And friends, I prayed out there with the man. And he prayed too. Friends, I was crying and weeping. Friends, my wife, before she went completely kooky for the last time on me, she had a little empathy. And she video recorded me praying with the man. She's got it on. Friends, go find I can't tell you who my wife is. If y'all are friends with her, y'all go. Friends, she still has pictures of me on her Facebook. Isn't that weird? I'll tell you what's even weirder, friends. Friends, I'm not stalking the lady, but when the WhatsApp calls, she's got a new profile picture, friends, and it looks nothing like her. She uses one of these AI avatars to make her look like she's 20 years younger with no wrinkles, no stress, and she looks happy in the little avatar. But friends, I got a glimpse of the lady tonight. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Friends, don't you flirt around with the devil. The devil's going to do what the devil did to my soon-to-be ex-wife, but not soon enough, friends. Friends, what I'm telling you is Mr. HK is going downhill quick, and he might not make it to the end of the year, friends. Friends, Mr. HK is dying is what I'm telling you. And Jesus told me that, friends. That is a true story, friends. Jesus told me that he ain't got long, and I got to go out there every day. Friends, I went out there to show this man that I didn't forget about him. That I ain't gonna allow a bunch of bullies do what they did to the guy. There not be no peaceful repercussions, friends. And I told you, I put the fear of God in y'all. I put the fear of God in the Tampa VA. That's why y'all came after my wife and you got her, because she's weak and she's perverted and she's fallen and she's dysfunctional. Everyone, like everyone on her, everyone in her family's dysfunctional, with this exception with her uncle. And I don't know, her other brother's kind of doing pretty good, friends. I don't know. I don't know, friends. I don't know, friends. I mean, I had all these people at my house on Thanksgiving, and then they all turned on me because they're fallen and they're dysfunctional. And I got all these people in my home right now. Friends, they're literally sitting in my kitchen right now, just as miserable as they can be, just complaining, doing all the evil, just sitting there, just with all their shame, just washed all over them. And friends, I told my children, I said, don't you dare talk to those women. I said, you go right in your other room, you march your butts in your room, and you shut the door. I will not allow these women to hear what we're talking about. And friends, these ladies heard everything I said. These perverted witches, unwedded, dysfunctional. Friends, I refuse. I will not allow my children to grow up in that dysfunction. Friends, what my wife didn't tell you is I do have hidden cameras in that home, friends. I might just have to show the judge. Friends, I told you Mr. HK ain't got long. And friends, that is a true story. It breaks my heart, everyone. It breaks my heart. Because Miss Linnell reached out to me tonight. And she goes, just checking on you. And Miss Linnell had pneumonia, her and her husband. And she told me, she goes, Mr. HK ain't got long. He's going downhill quick. Friends, the man, like 10 years ago, was like doing backflips in these cemeteries, trying to teach y'all a little knowledge about the Civil War. The War of Aggression, friends. Correction, it's the War of Aggression. There was nothing civil about it. It's just like today, the government's out of control. And just like that. Friends, did you know the Union soldiers murdered a whole bunch of POWs of the Confederate Army? Friends, y'all didn't know those things, did you? Or maybe you did, and it made you feel good. Because you're like, yeah, all those guys owned slaves. Friends, the northern people owned slaves. Everybody back then owned slaves. Well, not everybody. Friends, it was like less than 1% of the population. Friends, I can't explain these things. The only way that I can explain it is this is spiritual. The devil knows. The devil knows that I begged Jesus to get righteous. And the devil didn't like that. Because the devil had a lot of pleasure tricking me every night with my alcohol and the pornography and all the other things. Friends, I wouldn't lie. That's like the two things I did I shouldn't have been doing. Friends, I say again, I never put my hands on this woman. I never struck her in anger. Friends, I didn't even strike her in the bedroom. I'm just not into that type of stuff. But this dysfunctional woman lost her mind for the last time with me and ran down to the courts. Friends, I was trying to get the lady help last month. And she didn't like that because the devil tricked the lady. And instead of her getting the help, she ran down there and did a fake false expertise on me. Friends, the lady did it to me 2 times last year because she just didn't want to understand what the hell Sergeant Grizzlegrits was all about. And she didn't like it, friends. And I told you, these people are fallen and they're wicked. It was the devil in her telling her to do all these things. Friends, and her last injunction lied thing right back here, friends. It clearly states that she hates God. It says it in there. It mocks me because I tell her that I'm following God. You know, our family, we need to follow Jesus. We need to follow God. Friends, the lady mocked God in there and didn't even capitalize God's name. And then she lied and said I was curled up on the floor in the garage crying to Jesus. Friends, I was on the floor in the garage and I was kind of curled up. Friends, I was putting new struts in the back of my truck. Y'all go watch the pinball channel I made. I did a video on the ground, friends. And I asked this lady, there's nothing lady about this. I asked this petitioner that I needed her assistance to hold the light so I could get the screw, friends. I had a screw, friends, it was a nightmare. She wasn't no help. She got angry and just retreated in the hole. Friends, what I'm telling you, these people are nothing but liars, manipulators. They just want to be miserable. Because it's all the shame. Friends, my friend yesterday told me, guilt is when you do something. Guilt is when you break a law or you drink and drive. Or maybe you are the kind of guy that slaps your women around. Friends, that was never me. Friends, I've never struck a lady in my life. Not one time, friends. But friends, shame goes to the core of who you are, friends. If you're a rotten person like these people I'm trying to explain to you, you're going to have all the shame. All the shame. Oh, I can't get over it, not yet. Friends, these people heard me on the phone talking to my children, and my children had so much fun in that room, and they were laughing and having all the fun. And friends, we read a Bible story. I had my daughter. That's when I knew these demons were in my kitchen, just sitting there. Friends, this is how they sit in the kitchen. I'm so miserable. I'm so miserable. I'm so miserable. Who can I make miserable so I can feel good about being miserable? Friends, misery loves company. That's why I know my wife's hanging out with Jessica Marchalewski again. I mean, what the hell's wrong with y'all? Letterman, Grizzle 6. Roger that. I need to take a little break. I'm getting worked up again. We're gonna listen to a little hot water music. We're gonna cruise. Okay, roger that. Love you too. All right, Grizzle 6 out. I mean, friends, what can I say that hasn't already been said a million times? It's a stinking spiritual battle, friends. I know that, friends. I know that. Friends, I'm struggling right now with my friends. I don't get angry any longer. I get frustrated, friends. This is the frustrations. I should be in the house right now. I should be providing leadership and guidance to all these fallen women. Friends, my oldest daughter's suffering right now because she's getting older and she's around a bunch of miserable women. Miserable, fallen, broken women. And friends, when you're surrounded by that, you're going to start behaving like that. There's nobody uplifting around there. Friends, I asked my daughter, I said, is mommy happy or is she sad? You know what my daughter said? I don't know, Daddy. I just don't know. Friends, that tells me that everybody in that home's miserable, including my oldest. And friends, there ain't no parenting going on. My son's just running around like a maniac, friends. It was so hard to even get his attention. And friends, when I was in the home like a month ago, I made him sit his butt down. Friends, I mean, come on now, I'm a father. I'm a stinking father, friends. I ain't your best friend. I ain't gonna let you just run around and not have manners. Friends, my children don't give no manners to my wife. Because she doesn't demand the respect that a parent does. Because she ain't a parent, friends. She's a broken woman. She's just dysfunctional for the last time. Dysfunctional! Thunderman, Grizzle 6 over. That's right, my wife is dysfunctional. I'm sorry, Gabriel, I'll get off the Netflix. All right, look, friends, I'm about to get some hot water here. Some hot water music's what we're listening to. Friends, when you remove a godly man out of a home, then dysfunction the chaos just ensues everybody. These roads, man, I told you, friends, I gotta move out of this county. Ain't no county commissioner doing the job getting the roads fixed. They just want to take all your money, and Gwen Myers just wants to go buy another wig, another 100. I can't believe this, friends. I mean, look at this. I'm back in Afghanistan. This place smells like Afghanistan. They're burning trash. Friends, I'm about to lose a tire. Friends, I'm so frustrated right now. Can you hear it in my voice, everybody? Friends, I got a bunch of fallen, broken, dysfunctional women just immersing themselves around my children. And then my children go over to the horrible Waldron's house, and it's just more drunkenness, dysfunction over there. I got an idea. Why don't y'all stop drinking alcohol, Waldrons? Can y'all have one party? Can y'all do New Year's Eve without getting drunk? If y'all can do New Year's Eve without having alcohol, I will stop dressing y'all down. For like a day. Friends, I can't stand this evil, friends. It's all spiritual for the last time. Friends, God is testing me because God knows everything. God's in control, friends. God knew I was going to get frustrated. Friends, I have never repudiated God, and I haven't used one curse word tonight, friends. And I'm in check of my anger. Friends, I don't have anger. I'm frustrated. I'm highly frustrated. I don't get to be there when my children open up all these presents tomorrow. And friends, when you're a child, you don't understand these things. You just don't have a memory of daddy being around. All you see is all these broken women, all these women that have always ruined all their relationships because they get angry and they run away and they punish the men. Punish. Friends, I saw my wife on the phone for a minute. This lady, I've never seen the lady look like that. Friends, the lady looked like she saw a ghost. She did, friends. When she saw me, she saw the Holy Ghost looking right at her. Friends, that lady's in so much hot water. And friends, I talked about Mr. HK. Friends, the man, we gotta say some prayers. I mean, the man ain't got long. Friends, I went on the Hillsborough County hover today, and guess what, friends? Guess what? Friends, I got my day in court for my little misdemeanor. Friends, I'm gonna call it a misdemeanor misunderstanding. Friends, my wife went down to the courts last month and lied. I mean, friends, the lady says I was a heavy user of marijuana, but friends, when I went through my expertise, there was no marijuana in my system. The lady said that I was a kooky running around with guns, and friends, that is kind of true, but I was out there doing peaceful protests, and everybody knows that. Friends, this thing is just full of nonsense, and the Judge Peroni knows this lady, because this lady was the judge last year when my wife did this. And friends, her and her mother worked together with this Hillsborough County and got me thrown in jail, friends, and they had so much pleasure because they're dysfunctional. Well, friends, I got a misdemeanor charge because I sent my mother-in-law a text like a week and a half ago just saying, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry this happened again. I love y'all. I said, Arlene Waldron is literally the culprit. She's the one that runs all the crazy trains. And it's true, friends. Friends, my horrible mother-in-law was married to my most righteous uncle. And my uncle was not a dysfunctional man. He was highly functional. He was spiritual. But he smoked cigarettes, and that's what wound up killing the guy. So my uncle married a dysfunctional woman. And it didn't work out, everybody. And Arlene Waldron helped make sure of that. So, friends, I sent a text, and I guess looking back, I shouldn't have done it because it landed me in jail with a misdemeanor. But, friends, here's what I'm trying to explain to you. The fact that I was in jail, the Judge Peroni was not able to see me on that Monday, on the 15th. So friends, that gave a little more time, and then I got to go before the judge in my orange jumpsuit at the Orient Road Jail. And this lady, the petitioner, well, she was in the living room, friends. And I started dressing. I just started, Your Honor, look at the room back there, Your Honor. That's the room this lady broke into. I got the camera. I live streamed it when she was breaking in my office. I told her, don't you dare go in there. That's my office, friends. I did. I changed the lock, and the lady broke into my office, and she broke into my work computer, friends, because she was looking for the video, and she found it, friends. And I caught you on. I'm not talking to her. Hillsborough County. I'm talking to that lady over there. Hey, lady. Hey, give me a call later. Okay. Friends, I gotta be so careful. The perverted Hillsborough County's watching right now, you perverted demons. Allow there to be a hot, cold shame all over your unqualified perverted heads. Friends, I caught the lady, and I caught the lady, and I caught the lady. I got a 20-minute video of the lady assaulting me and battering me and preventing me from leaving. Friends, everything this lady claimed that she did, friends, almost everything that she claimed I did, she's actually the one that did it. And she knows it now. She knows she's in so much hot water, friends. Friends, I am so fearful that if I get to go, friends, court's on the 12th now. I told the judge, I have to be in front of you, ma'am. I have so much evidence to show you, and the judge is just going, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Friends, I told you the Judge Peroni is secretly in love with me. And I told you, friends, Judge Peroni's not a bad looking lady. I believe like she's Italian, so she's got the dark olive skin, and she's got real nice silky black hair. Friends, I'm sure she's a really wonderful lady when she's not on the bench, but she has to be firm because she's a judge. But friends, I got strict rules. I told Miss Laura Benson, that was the Hillsborough County legal that took all my guns away for a little while. Well, the lady was also secretly in love with me. But friends, I can't be in love with a drunkard. And Miss Laura Benson drinks like 3 bottles of wine every night, friends, because she's just consumed with evil. But friends, she was the most gorgeous blonde that I have ever seen in my life. I mean, she had it all, friends, with the exception of being godly. But I don't know, friends. Let me get to what I'm trying to explain here. Friends, I told the judge I have all this evidence, and I said, I demand that you just toss it out now. And she goes, well, Mr. Messer, I can rule on it now. But she says, you don't have all your evidence. And I said, I know. I said, okay. Then I need a continuation. Can you do that for me? She goes, oh, yeah. And then she gave my wife a dressing down for like 5 minutes on not putting the children in the middle of all this. Friends, the judge knows exactly what the hell's going on. Because this judge is used to people going in there and having a battery charge going along with it, or a strangulation charge. And this lady knows I do my live streams, and friends, believe it or not, friends, she's on here right now. I told you, friends, I told you this judge is pretty cool. And friends, the only reason the judge gave my wife all the power last year is I didn't get to go to court, friends. I was preparing for a hurricane, and the server just didn't find me. And literally, friends, I got it 2 hours after court. I got served my paperwork. Friends, I told you God's in charge of everything. God's in control of, friends. Friends, when I went to jail, God allowed me to go to jail, friends. Friends, when I was expertized, God allowed me to be expertized. Friends, God revealed to me that if I was successful that day to go down there and do that to her, the lady would have broke in there. Oh my goodness, Aunt Connie, my goodness, Aunt Connie, I'm just going on a little drive, Aunt Connie. I don't need you to call the sheriff and think that I'm gonna harm myself. That'll never happen. But friends, if I had been successful that first time back there in November, and I had gotten this lady expertized, friends, the lady would have never gotten out of there, is what I'm explaining to you. And she would have lost her job at the VA, she would have lost her nursing license, and then we would have lost everything, friends. I mean, there's no more income if the lady loses her job. So friends, God allowed me to go through that expertise because he knows I'm a good soldier. And friends, I had the time of my life in there. Friends, half the staff thought that I was one of the doctors. And friends, that is not a lie. Every time I go in there, I have a lot of fun with these people because I'm a lot smarter than y'all. And friends, I'm not loony. I don't need to be in there. Oh, look at these people running the red lights. Friends, it's how you reframe your thinking. Friends, I know without a shadow of a doubt God's in control, and this is all spiritual. So when I get thrown in a loony bin for a couple of days, I don't get sore. I just start fellowshipping with people. I start having fun with the staff. And then, friends, I can't tell you, friends, I had a lot of business cards on me. Friends, I got like 20 new subscribers because I went into there. And then when the lady got terrified because I was getting out and I wasn't at the Tampa VA where they were going to hold me indefinitely, friends, January 6th, friends, y'all go look up what January 6th was all about. Mr. Trump had to pardon all these people. And friends, those people should have never been locked up. It was a trap. Friends, she ran down there and did the expertise. She thought I was going to come out and... friends, I have no idea. I can't explain this evil. It's dysfunction. But friends, what I'm explaining is her and her mother worked to get me thrown in jail, and they did, friends. But here's the best part, friends. My court got... I asked for a continuation, friends, and that court is on January the 12th. And friends, that lady's going to be in court, and she has to explain all these lies to the judge. And friends, I told you, if that even happens, hold on, I just got to get to it here. Hillsborough County, I'm not trying to tamper a witness. I'm not trying to sway this lady either way. Well, friends, if that lady has to go before Judge Peroni and present and defend what she wrote in there with my mountain of evidence in my video, friends, I'm afraid that lady's going to go to jail. And friends, I'm not kidding around. I'm not being goofy here, friends. Friends, perjury is a real deal. When you put your hand up and you swear under oath that everything you say is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and then you write a bunch of nonsense and lies and get a good man thrown in jail and get a good man thrown here and thrown there. Well, friends, there's got to be some consequences to that. And this judge knows that, because this judge had to deal with this nonsense last year, and the judge kind of didn't know what was going on. But now, friends, now there's a pattern. There's a stinking pattern. Friends, I will never tell this lady what to do. I won't even try to attempt it, because the Hillsborough County that's watching will throw me in jail for trying to tamper a witness. Friends, I need my family out of these damn courts. We don't belong in these courts. I'm not fighting this lady for nothing. The lady's made it loud and clear that she's crazy and I can't be around her. That's fine, friends. I'm not gonna live in dysfunction. I already bought my RV mansion. I already have a place to live, and I don't ever have to go back to the home and sleep there ever again. But I am gonna leave my belongings there, friends. That is my home. And that home's under a VA home loan. And that lady's gonna have to learn the hard way that home's gonna remain in my name, friends. That home, you can't sell it, needs a new roof. And she don't got $40,000, $50,000 put a new roof on there. And even Arlene Waldron wouldn't be able to sprinkle that kind of earthly treasures. I don't know, the lady makes a lot of money. She just wants to sprinkle her little Arlene Waldron treasures on everyone's problems and just make them go away. But that's not life, friends. That's dysfunction. Aunt Connie knows that. Aunt Connie's not dysfunction. Aunt Connie's a high function. So, friends, because of what her and her mother did to me, threw me in jail for a couple of days. Friends, I had the time of my life in there. I don't want to ever go back, my friends, to cornbread. That stinking cornbread was amazing. And friends, I was the best prisoner. These people didn't know what to do with me. They literally said, get this guy out of here. He's going to make all the prisoners nice and kind. And then we won't be able to beat him and throw him in the hole any longer. Friends, I got court on... Friends, I told you, I gotta face this lady and all her lies. And it's going to be real painful, friends. I'm afraid the judge is going to throw the damn book at the lady. Because you don't go to a judge and you don't play around in her court. I mean, the judge likes it when the ladies do that. But when a man like me comes around and I catch you, and I got all the evidence, and I got friends, when you got a video of the lady doing it to me, friends, the lady assaulted me. She grabbed my phone. She tried to grab my phone in my office. And the lady put her hand on my truck and said, if I can't go nowhere, neither can you. Friends, that's domestic violence 101. And that judge knows that. And that judge knows I'm a righteous man. And that judge probably believes in God too, friends, because that judge loves children. I can tell. I got discernment. Friends, I told you I got to go to court for the continuation. That's going to be on the 12th. Well, friends, I got my misdemeanor charge in front of Judge Peroni on the 8th, friends. Did you hear what I said? Hold on, friends. I'm trying to find the right road here. I think it's a little further down. Friends, I get to go before Judge Peroni 4 days before my wife, okay? I get to go in there and explain all this nonsense to the lady. Because she's the judge, and I was so unrighteously violated for this nonsense, and it's all lies. So she's going to want an explanation, and I'm going to just tell her everything. I'm going to tell her everything, friends. Friends, I'm pretty confident Judge Peroni's going to toss everything out on the 8th. And friends, that would be the best case scenario for everybody. Because my misdemeanor goes away. Yeah, I get a mugshot, friends, but who cares? You know, Mr. Trump's got one or two of them. Got a little further down to go. Friends, I get to go in front of Judge Peroni on the 8th of January. Because I got an ankle bracelet on my ankle, friends. Because these people threw me in jail because I sent a text apologizing that I did not apologize that I did anything wrong. What I said was, I'm sorry that our family's going through this again. And I did dress down my horrible mother. The birthing lady, friends. I can't call this lady a mother. She's not been a mother in a very long time. So, friends, I get to go before Judge Peroni on the 8th of January. And I don't believe that the petitioner is going to be around for that one. I don't, friends. I don't know. She might, because she's the victim. Oh, the victim. Friends, I pray that the lady ain't around. That way I can just tell the judge what the hell's gone on. And I'm going to beg for mercy. I'm going to say, Your Honor, please, I'm begging you. My wife's dysfunctional. And you know, maybe we can allow her, release her on her own reconnaissance, and maybe this could, you know, maybe scare her into not ever doing this evil again, and maybe she'll go get help on her own for the children, Your Honor, the children. I'm going to tell the judge that I don't live there any longer. I already got my mail. Friends, I got a P.O. box at the post office. I got to go buy an extra key because the key's in the house. Friends, I won't even go to the house and have the sheriff meet me there. I just won't do it, friends, and I haven't done it. And there's no record of my GPS going anywhere near that home, friends. I've been in cemeteries. I've been out the Campbell's Dairy Aisle because I got me a nice milkshake last night with my friend, and it was good, friends. It was a good time. Okay, friends, we're going to take it right up here. Friends, I'm going to beg for mercy out of Judge Peroni. I'm going to say, look, Your Honor, this has been a nightmare. I've done everything I could with this lady. It's dysfunctional. I got sober 3 years ago. The lady still drinks, but that's none of my damn business any longer. And for the children, Your Honor, I'm at this point begging you to please toss out my charge, because I don't need a charge. I didn't really do anything wrong. And this thing should have never been temporary, because it was all based on lies, friends. Friends, if the petitioner had a video of me punching her or putting my hand on her car, friends, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. But I told you, friends, it's all projection. I'm a mental health guy for the last time. So, friends, I get to go to court 4 days before this lady gets to go in there and defend herself. So, friends, we need to pray. Friends, I told you God's in control of everything, didn't I? Hold on, friends, please. Oh, are we still in Hillsborough County? Oh, I should have gone down a little further. Oh, there could be could be some perverted homosexual sheriff's deputies out here at the pier doing some naughty with each other. Maybe the Cronkster's out here. Friends, I told you what the Kronk's all about, didn't I? Friends, you know why they call him the Cronkster, don't you? Y'all don't know why we call Chad Chronister the Cronkster? Well, friends, when 2 men get together in the broom closet, they do a thing called the Kronk. And it's perverted, friends, that's all I can tell you. It involves 2 men, and if you do it, friends, you're going to go in the eternal fire. Don't you ever let me catch you doing the Kronk. It's so perverted. Friends, I can't even tell you what it is. You just got to go look it up yourself. The Kronk, friends, it's an LGBT thing. When somebody Kronks you, it's disgusting, and you're overwashed with shame. That's why we call him the Cronkster. Friends, it's one of the initiations that they do to the new deputies when they get the badge on them. They take them back behind, in the shower, and they do the Kronk. Everybody gets to do the Kronk on them. Oh, it's so horrible, friends. I can't believe I'm telling you these things. They're definitely going to murder me for that. Friends, I get to go to jail. Oh, Lord Jesus, please don't. Oh, Lord, hold on. Thunder Main, it's Crystal 6. I need some angels. I don't want to go to jail. Well, I do love the cornbread. Yeah, Gabriel, that cornbread. Do you know what the recipe is? I would love to. Oh, I'm not allowed to know. Okay, all right, thanks a lot, Gabriel. I'll talk to you later. All right, Crystal 6 out. Friends, I get to go to before the judge. It's the same judge, friends. I want to explain to you. It's been the same judge for the last 1.5 years. And I could tell this judge did not like the fact that I was in jail. This judge knows I'm a good man. This judge knows I'm a good father. And the judge knows that this lady's a lunatic. So, friends, the best case scenario is the judge listens to me and has a lot of empathy. Because, friends, I don't lie. I don't speak a lie, friends. And the judge can see through all this nonsense. And the judge can put the children first and just make all this evil just quietly go away. And friends, I don't have any desire of ever living in that home again. I got 3 broken women living there now, friends. Breaks my heart. Friends, I got my RV mansion at the RV park. And friends, believe it or not, where I'm going right now is where I'm going to be living next month. Friends, I'm going to bring all my receipts. I'm going to let this judge know without a shadow of a doubt I will never live in that home again. I don't want nothing to do with this wicked family. All I care about is my children, and I'm going to do everything I can to be a godly father and teach my children about Christ, about forgiveness, and I'm going to run my ministry, friends. I'm going to tell the judge all about my lawsuit. I'm going to tell her it's all real. This lady wrote in there that my lawsuit was a bunch of nonsense, that I never was a congressional whistleblower. Friends, I got a Google share drive with Congress, and that's a true damn story. I couldn't believe I put it together. It took me like 1 week to upload all these documents. And I got a Google Drive, friends. Maybe I'll publish it someday for y'all. It has everything, friends. It has everything in my lawsuits on the Google Drive. And Congress has it. They know that. Oh my goodness. Why is my glasses getting all foggy? Hold on, friends. Oh, of course. Yeah. I kind of figured I kind of figured it would be a gated community. All right, friends, let's just do this. Bridge ahead. Yeah, we can't go back there. All the nice places, all the rich, all the 1%ers, they get to just have it all for themselves. That's okay, friends. That's okay. We'll just mosey on down this way. So, friends, did you hear what I said? Because, oh my goodness. Oh no. We need some. Oh, friends, I gotta run to the store and get some batteries. Why is this light working and the other one's not? Okay, friends. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry I had the brights on. Look, everybody, I'm gonna log it off here. I need to go have a little quiet time with Jesus. Friends, I got court literally before the other court. And I pray to Jesus. And friends, I told you, Lord's in charge of everything. Friends, I do not want this lady to lose her job. I do not want this lady to lose her nursing license. I do not want this lady to go to jail for perjury, friends. And there's tons of perjury back there in my horrible Lightfield injunction. Friends, what I need is this lady to learn from this. Because, friends, this cost her the marriage. Friends, this lady will never be married to a strong man ever again in her life because of what she did. Because she didn't want to get her dysfunction squared away. She wanted to thrive in dysfunction. She wanted to punish me in dysfunction. And I'm not dysfunctional, friends. Friends, if I was dysfunctional, I would have broken the violation and I would have done something really bad, like some people have done. Friends, every man that I met in jail that had one of these little nightmares going on, well, they had either beaten the lady or strangled her or slapped her around, friends. That is a true story, friends. Friends, we got to pray for this woman. This woman's fallen. And here's the saddest part, friends. I have no idea who this lady is. I don't want to know who this lady is. I have no idea who her mother and her family are, and I don't want to ever, besides Uncle Danny. Yeah, Uncle Danny's cool. First, I don't want nothing to do with these people ever again. I'll explain it to you. So there's no reason for a temporary or a permanent injunction. I need to be a father for my children, and I'm going to let that judge know. And that judge is going to say, yeah, right on, right on. Friends, you cannot do this to people and get away with it, okay? Yeah, she got away with it last year. And friends, I took her back with no conditions. Friends, we went to a counselor like 2 times. And all she did was nothing. She didn't even talk. It's dysfunction, friends. So look, friends, y'all have a Merry Christmas. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to Ybor and hang out with my homeless veterans. I can't be around my children. They're going to be around a bunch of dysfunctional women that are broken and empty on the inside. Friends, if you're dysfunctional, you give me a call on my work phone. I'll give you a stern talking, and we'll do a counseling session. That's what I do, everybody. And look, if you're the judge, just, you know, when I'm divorced, maybe we can go on a little date. You know, I would love to pick your brain about what happened here, ma'am. You know, can I call you Francis? Hey, Francis. You give me a holler on the work phone. I would love, when it's all done, Your Honor. We don't want no conflict of interest. But Your Honor, when I'm free and clear, I would love, Your Honor, I would love to take, friends, hold on, friends, I'm trying to be professional. Your Honor, I would love to take you out to one of my nice cemeteries. You know, we can go on a long walk and I can just explain to you what I've been up to. And I can tell you about the grizzly man. Friends, I'm telling you, the judge is a good-looking lady. And we're probably about the same age, friends. And I didn't see a wedding band on the lady's hand either, friends. So that can either mean one or two things. But I don't know, friends. The lady loved children, and not in a perverted way. Friends, how much does a county judge make? I mean, that lady's probably got to make close to $200,000, I would imagine. Oh, Judge Messer, Judge Francis Messer. I like that judge. I think we can make something. We could have an arrangement. I don't know, friends. I'm on a spiritual journey. I'm getting sidetracked, for God's sake. Help me, Lord Jesus. I don't want no more blasphemy. All right, look, friends, I gotta go. I'm gonna turn up the hot water music, and friends, I gotta get some batteries. I gotta find like a gas station or something. So, friends, I'll be back in a little while. Don't you dare worry about your humble sergeant major. I'm good to go, friends. Friends, I told you I got court before this lady. She don't know that yet, friends, but she's gonna learn, because I'm sure that she's gonna be on the hover sometime over the weekend. And she's gonna learn that I get to go before the judge and just expose it all, friends. Friends, the only way you get rid of shame is exposing it. That's what my man told me yesterday. So, look, friends, I'll talk to y'all later on, and y'all stay groovy. Grizzle 6 out. Every time I try to end the transmission, the little thing pops up. Hold on, friends. We're just gonna turn up the hot water. All right, friends. I'll see you in a little while. Y'all stay groovy.